In tonight's business, with large-scale public sector layoffs now just a few weeks away, the head of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce says the private sector will continue to try to hold strain for as long as it can. But he has warned that poor business facilitation is impacting negatively on the overall level of investor confidence.
Some of them have expressed great amount of frustration for two things. Not only the long delays in the approvals process, but for the failure to get explanations why these projects may not be approved. Because if it can be approved, if there are certain adaptations, surely they would look at that. But there is a hiatus in information coming from the departments that provide approvals of planning to allow businesses to know, oh, okay, we see where you're coming from, and go back to the drawing board.
Mr. Vaswani tells the business report that very recently he was in discussion with one such business person who is seeking to invest upward of $200 million.
Only this morning I was able to sit with a business person who has about 5 different projects in excess of $200 million. But there's a great deal of anxiety that's also leading to frustration because they're not seeing the type of commensurate response, the business-like approach to say, what can we do? We know Barbados need these investments. What can we do to get it right? And so I'd like to call upon all the civil service to work with the private sector.
300 group pension plans have applied through the Financial Services Commission for registration under the new Occupational Pensions and Benefits Act. This is according to Randy Graham, the Commission's Director of Insurance and Pensions.
Right now we have about 300 pension plans who have applied for application, occupational pension plans who have applied for registration under the OPBA. The legislation in its good foresight had provided for a transitional period of registration for those plans who were operational under Inland Revenue and had to transition into registration under the OPBA because, as we indicated, there were several pieces of items that they had to submit for the registration. So out of those 300 plans, to date we've registered about 125 for full registration, and the remainder have been issued temporary registration certificates.
Mr. Graham said that so far the Commission is happy with the rate of registrations and he expects to see an upsurge in the rate of submissions of the relevant documents.
They have submitted principally the majority of the registration documents, minus 1 or 2 things which we are waiting to complete registration. So I think given the nature of what they had to submit, we are quite happy with the rate of registration, full registration thus far. What the majority of the plans are now awaiting is a very technical actuarial report in most regards, and that resource is limited to produce the actuarial reports, but we have been meeting very frequently with the actuaries and service providers and getting updates on them as to when those things would be submitted, and they have been feverishly compiling this information.
Let's take a look now at how stocks traded on some of the regional exchanges.